What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today, we're back with my brand spanking new 2025 Ram 1500 Rebel with the SST. That's the straight 6 turbo, the standard output, 420 horse, twin turbo inline 6 engine. Brand new truck. It's got 2,500 miles on it. And I was heading out to go film today, make some content for you guys. And well, the truck had other plans. So I told you guys from the very beginning I was going to continue filming my ownership with this truck because for the Ram line, this is a new engine. However, it's important to understand that this engine has actually been around for a little while, guys. The SST engine has been around for the Grand Wagoneers for a couple of years now. So I thought, all right, if they had some bugs, they probably got them worked out by now, right? Right? Well, I'm here to tell you, I have figured out what triggers this thing to start misfiring. And it is literally sitting here misfiring like crazy right now. In fact, I'm going to take you over to the exhaust. Let me get this mic. I'm going to put you guys right up to the exhaust. Have a listen. Yep, you heard it. She's definitely misfiring. So, why don't we take a look, see what's going on in here. Oh, no check engine light? No. How about that? No, the check engine light, guys, is right there. All right? I want you to see this. There's no check engine light. You can clearly hear it misfiring. But if you want further proof, let's just take a look at the engine. Oh. Look at this thing bouncing around. Are you kidding me? Do you see this thing shaking? I hope it comes out on camera. The screen on this camera is so small, it's hard to tell what you guys can actually see. But I mean, she is literally bouncing around. Yeah. No check engine light. That's wild, man. She's literally misfiring solid and has been this whole time. Check engine light is not on. Now, maybe it's my imagination. All right, it could be, right? I mean, even though the engine is bouncing around and I can feel the truck like surging and you can hear it in the exhaust, you know, maybe, possibly it's just my imagination. That's okay. I carry one of these in all of my cars, guys. Every one of them. I mean, it's not much. All right, but at least it gives me an insight into what's going on. It's just a cheap little scan tool. In fact, I'll put a link to this down below. I think it's like $49. It's probably the cheapest one you can buy, but I'm telling you, having this with you, it's an invaluable little tool. Let's get down here and find the, there's the port right there. Let's plug it in. There we go. Currently reading the codes. Let's see what it comes up with here. Oh! We have codes. We have a P11B as in Bravo 1. Now, I looked up this code. It has something to do with losing communication with the transmission control module. Yes, losing communication with the transmission. That's great. Let's see what the next code is. Oh, the check engine light's finally flashing. Hey, it's like it knew that I plugged in the code reader. And it was like, oh, maybe now we should throw the check engine light, right? Right? All right. U0901. Again, I think this is another code relating to the transmission control module. This is a little scary. Next, a P0305. Well, we know what that is, guys. P0305, that's a cylinder 5 misfire. But the check engine light wasn't on, right? It wasn't. It is now. Last code? Oh, it's got 6 codes. P28A1. I believe this is another error with the transmission control module. So this now has 2 more codes than it had when I scanned it earlier. Oh, a PO300, even better. Oh, great. Now we've got a multiple/random cylinder misfire. And a PO302, so now we also have a cylinder 2 misfire as well. Cylinders 2 and 5, now we have a multiple random cylinder misfire. Now I want you to see this. The check engine light ain't on anymore. It's off. I didn't clear the codes. Yep, there. Oh, man. So I've already talked to David Stanley. And I want to be very clear about something, all right? This truck having problems has nothing to do with David Stanley. You have to remember these trucks, I should say, are mass produced at the factory, okay? David Stanley, they're going to handle the warranty work. They're going to take care of a loaner vehicle, etc. I promise you, David Stanley's going to take good care of me, and they would take good care of you too, okay? I'm not mad at David Stanley for this. They have no control over the build quality of these trucks. It's going to have to go back to them, and they're just going to have to do some research and try to figure out what's going on with this truck. I can tell you this, I was on my way to go do some filming down at AAR headquarters. I stopped and I got something to eat, and we had the truck idling for 25, maybe 30 minutes. And that's when this misfire started. And I was like, oh no. And then it seemed to clear up, and then it started again. It was kind of intermittent, back and forth, back and forth. Right now, solid misfire. Like, it is not stopped. Check engine light's not even on. It's not. It's not on. But you come back here, damn thing is still misfiring like a son of a gun. Listen to this. All right, there's something wrong here. So I text David Stanley, and old Tony gets a hold of his mechanic, and his mechanic is like, well, you know, if it's solid misfiring, you probably don't want to drive it. But if the misfire goes away, then you probably can drive it. I'm scheduled to drop it off tomorrow and just leave it with them. But I may have to have roadside come get it. I'm not going to drive it, guys. If you drive a vehicle with a misfire like this, you're going to damage the catalyst system. And the catalytic converters, I think, are attached directly to the turbos. Like, I'm fairly certain that the catalytic converters are literally attached right to the turbochargers. I'm not trying to cause any damage, and I know that letting it idle while misfiring is no good either, but I'm doing this to document what I'm going through, and I wanted to show you guys the process. Now, I told you guys from the beginning, you know, it's a new engine for this truck. It is not a new engine, all right? But it's a new engine for this line of trucks, and I told you guys, good, bad, or ugly, whatever, you know, I'm gonna absolutely show you my experience with this. So we'll end up sending this in, and the mechanic said it could be a programming problem, a software issue. I guess some of these earlier ones back in 2024 were having a lot of problems with software, but you would think with this being, what year is this truck? I mean, it's going to be a 24, but is it a late? Yeah, this is October of 24, guys. So, I mean, this is a late build. You would think if there was a software issue and they knew about it, Stellantis would have automatically updated it from the factory. So I started driving it home to see how it would act, and it was, I mean, it had no power. It was like doing bucking and surging, and I pulled over. I was like, we're gonna have to get this towed, and then it cleared up. And I was like, okay. So then I drove it, and it did drive home. Drove 20 miles home with relatively no problem. Occasionally it felt like it was misfiring, but the check engine light never came back on. So I thought, you know what? I got back to the house after that drive, and it seemed fine. I let it idle, and it seemed fine. I said, we're going to let this thing sit for 20 or 30 minutes like we were doing in the parking lot and see if it comes back. And sure enough, leaving it idling for between 20 and 30 minutes, bingo, that misfire comes right back, man. And see, now it's gone again. But it's still misfiring. But the check engine light isn't on. Very, very bizarre. This is highly disappointing. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I do not trust this truck at all right now. None. I don't trust this truck one bit. I wouldn't trust it just to drive down to AAR headquarters. Sure as hell would not trust this truck to drive up to Indiana. And obviously the truck, this is what we would normally take on a road trip out of state. That's how my last truck ended up with over 30,000 miles on it in the span of a year. We drive a lot. And the truck is used for most of the big road trips, for hauling cars, all the out-of-state stuff. That's what this truck gets used for, man. I'm looking at the coolant. I was kind of checking to see if maybe we got any bubbles. My concern is head gasket problems. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a random multiple misfire on a brand new car, because it's not like we've got bad spark plugs, right? The coils shouldn't be bad. A multiple random cylinder misfire. It just, especially on an engine that's got twin turbos, my mind goes straight to to head gasket problems. Anyway, let's shut it off and let's see if the misfire, there it is, it's back again. I mean, the misfire never goes away, but the check engine light turns off like, nah, it's okay. It's fine. It's not fine. It's really not fine. Let's shut it off. Let's start it back up one more time. Is it not misfiring now? No, it's misfiring. Oh yeah, she's misfiring. In fact, it's misfiring worse now than it was. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's even worse. Oh, man. Yeah, this is no good, guys. This is no good. I'm looking for air bubbles, man. I'm telling you, I got a sneaky suspicion. I hope I'm wrong. I do. I sincerely hope I'm wrong. Yeah, she's dead misfiring right now again. All right, so I guess you guys get the point. I wanted to have this well documented because we all know how it goes. It's not just David Stanley's. Any dealership you go to, man, they have to be able to recreate the problem. If they can't recreate the problem, then it's going to be a thing of, well, you know, road tested vehicle, problem wasn't there, and there's nothing we can do to fix it. So I always, and I recommend you do too, if you got a problem like this, document it. Listen to this one more time. Hear that? You know what else is a little concerning? Look at the moisture coming out of this tailpipe all over the ground. There's a lot of condensation in there. That concerns me a little. So it is not a cold day. The other thing that I noticed is the coolant level is below the maximum mark. And normally when you buy a new car, it's going to be all the way up to the full mark. This one's down a little bit. I don't know if it was completely full when we first bought it, but I'm telling you, man, I don't know. We'll document this. I'll drop it off at David Stanley, and of course we'll come back, and I may have to have this towed. I will not drive it. Oh, check engine light is solid now. Completely solid, yeah. I'm gonna have to call roadside assistance to come get this truck. That's what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna drive it and risk tearing anything up, so. Do we have any air bubbles blowing through here after we shut it down? No. Well, chalk it up to growing pains, man. We'll just cross our fingers and we'll hope that this is going to be an easy fix, maybe just a software update. But yeah, it's really disappointing to have a brand new truck. Out of all the Rams I've had, you guys watching this channel for a while, you know I've had a ton, at least 6 Rams on this channel, man. Some of them were brand new, most of them were brand new. Some of them were used, some were Cummins, you know, or Hemis. But this is a first. I have never had any of my Rams, even the ones I bought used, I've never had any Rams that gave me any problems. Never had a check engine light. This is a brand new one, and boom, something's already going terribly wrong. Now, I thought I was closing this video out until we heard something back from David Stanley. And I shut the truck off, let it sit for about 5 minutes. I fired it back up. It's running perfect. Now the check engine light is still on. All the codes are still there, but take a listen to the exhaust now. Perfect. But I guarantee you, if you let it sit here and idle for 20 or 30 minutes, she's going to start acting right back up again. Now, I don't know why, but the hood's just popped. I keep watching and listening, you know, trying to see if there's something. I haven't touched anything. I'm not working on this because it's under warranty, but I was standing just like this, listening to the engine. Sounds good. Then I started poking around and I looked over here and I was like, what is this? You guys see that? That's not right. Then I looked right here. You guys see that? Take a look over here. Same deal. Now, if it doesn't come out good on camera, I'm going to go ahead and post some pictures up, some high quality pictures so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But take a look over here as well. You know what these are, right? These are all grounds for the truck. the paint is all chipped off of them, not that one. That one's fine. But there's no ground there. But there is a ground location there. Are you kidding me? You know what, I'm seeing a pattern here, guys. It looks like every ground on this truck, at least that I can see, this one right here, and then I don't see any more over here. You come back over to this side, and we've got grounds over here. Okay, one right there. Take a look. That paint is chipped off, but the lug next to it is not. Now, there's no ground on that one, but there is on that one. Same thing right here. The paint's gone. These are both grounds. These have been removed. Then you come over here, you've got a major ground right here. The paint's also chipped up. That has been removed. You know what this tells me? This truck's had problems before. And I know what you're thinking. Quick to blame the dealer, right? Not so fast. I just went in the house and I looked at my manufacturer certificate of origin. And you know what it shows? This truck did not originally belong to David Stanley. That's right, guys. It belonged to a dealership down in Texas. So they had it first, and then somehow or another, David Stanley ended up purchasing this truck from that dealership in Texas. So I'm wondering, this truck, when I got it, had 500 miles on the odometer, like 550, 700 miles on the odometer. Still a new truck, still sold as a new truck with the manufacturer's certificate of origin, never been registered or anything. But it's kind of got me wondering if maybe during that 500 or so miles it was idling and they realized this truck's got some problems. And it looks like somebody got in here and tried to fix it. Apparently, they suspected it being a ground issue, considering every ground that I can see on top under the hood of this truck has been tampered with. Right. So I'm wondering if they didn't send a lemon off to another dealership. And then ultimately, guess who gets screwed? Me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a couple of days since we last reported anything on this truck. So just to make sure everybody knows the time frame here, we are at January 27th, 2024, or 2025. So I have not started this truck. I just left it sitting here. I haven't done anything with it. The thought was I would prefer to drive it to David Stanley, assuming that it's not misfiring anymore. And, you know, it's intermittent, but if we could just get it to David Stanley, you know, we'd be fine. I wanted to also show the mileage. 2573. The truck has not been driven. So let's fire it up. I'm curious to see if it's going to run okay this morning or if it's going to be giving us all kinds of problems. So here we go. Okay. That seems all right. Sounds fine. Doesn't sound like it's misfiring. We still have a solid check engine light, which is fine. That's normal, at least as of lately. And it's still in 4 auto. I wish it would just stay. There we go. Back into 2-wheel drive mode. I'm going to plug the code reader in one more time. I think I'm going to grab my coat, and we're going to run down to David Stanley. I'm going to try, while we're there, if I can get under the hood of one of their SSTs. I would like to look at those ground locations under the hood on another truck and see if theirs are also scuffed up like ours is. Because if not, that tells me somebody's been working on this. And if it is scuffed up, that means that's just the way it comes from factory. I just wouldn't expect it to come all scuffed up like that from the factory. Okay, 8 codes. PO305, cylinder 5, misfire. That's the same code. That's the same code. 305, same code. 300, random misfire, same code. Cylinder 2, same code, and then back to this one, same code. And then cylinder 5, again, same code. Perfect. Here's something I found interesting. You can clearly see, I started the truck up, check engine light came on immediately. All of those codes are still stored. I didn't touch them. I'm not clearing any codes. And I'm not doing any work on this truck. It's under warranty. I'm not touching any bolts. I'm not turning any wrenches. This truck has got to be taken care of by the dealer. Here's something I noticed when I was editing my video. Take a look at the coolant level in this. It's below the minimum mark. Now, what does this reservoir go to? This is obviously engine coolant, but if you take a look at the engine coolant, it is sitting right at the well, I can't really get you down there. It's sitting right at the minimum mark, which is probably okay, I guess, right? Because when it's cold, it hasn't expanded yet, so it would be at the minimum mark. And then when it gets hot, it expands and ends up at the max mark. But this one, whatever this little guy goes to, that coolant, you can see the maximum mark is up here. The minimum mark is here, and it's actually below the minimum mark. And even when the truck was fully heated up after I'd driven it home, it was sitting here misfiring, it was still below the minimum mark. So I'm wondering if these turbochargers may be liquid cooled, like water cooled, and oil. Obviously the oil would be for lubrication, probably a little bit of cooling as well. But I'm thinking these turbos are liquid cooled, and I'll bet that's a dedicated cooling system for the turbochargers. And that's a little scary, seeing that the coolant is that low. As you can see, it's running great. Take you back to the exhaust. You can hear it. No misfires currently, but I don't want to let it sit here and run, because if I let it sit here and idle for like 20 minutes, it's going to start misfiring again. So I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to get ready to carry this thing down to David Stanley. Unfortunately, I asked them if they had a loaner, because obviously I bought a pickup truck, right? Because, oh, there's that motor that I lost. This was for the Mustang. This was a $175 motor for the convertible top for the Floodstang, and I couldn't find it. I lost it, and I ended up having to pay another $175 for another motor. Apparently, I threw it under the seat of my truck. But anyway, my issue is, currently, I have a truck for a reason. This is a work truck. I use this for hauling. I do a lot of towing with it. And I've got two things coming up that I need to haul. Number one, my Chrysler Prowler, which is up in Tulsa, is getting ready to be finished. And I'm going to need to take my trailer up there and load it up and haul it back. Problem number one. Problem number two, I have a 66 Impala down in Florida. Yeah. I'm having an impossible time getting it shipped. So, Monkey Wrench Mike and I were talking. We're both having a really bad week, and we thought, you know, maybe we could take off to Florida, hop in the truck, go to Florida, and see if we can do a will it run, and see if we can get the car running and driving, and try to drive it from Florida back to Oklahoma. A barn find, a 66 Impala with a 427 barn find. I think that would be a lot of fun, but we need the truck, because I got to be able to load tools and supplies and materials and everything to go do this trip. And worst case scenario, if we can't get the car running and driving, we'll need the truck, because we need to rent a U-Haul trailer to load the 66 Impala up on and try to drag it home. So currently, David Stanley has told me they don't have any trucks for loaners, and right now he's not even sure if they have anything that they can loan me at all. So I guess we'll go down there and see what they can offer us. But yeah, if they don't have a loaner, I don't even know how I'm getting back home. So I'm documenting this entire experience, not just for you guys, but also for my own protection, because the last thing I want is anybody coming back saying that I did something that caused damage to the truck that's not covered under warranty. The main thing is you cannot be driving these vehicles if you've got a flashing check engine light, all right? If you got an active misfire, you cannot be driving these. You got to get over ASAP in a safe place and just stop, all right? These people that go out and they overheat their engines and they keep driving, I can make it home. No, man, no. You might get your warranty covered, and they might not. It's really not worth the risk, in my opinion. These engines, the Hurricane engines, originally had a massive problem with thermostats that would basically lock up and cause it to overheat, and it was popping head gaskets and blowing engines left and right. Now, I do believe that's been corrected by now. I don't think that's a problem anymore, but through the research that I've done, it appears that the big problem with these trucks is actually the wiring harness. It seems to be that there's a lot of wiring issues with these trucks, which would explain all of the communication failures that I'm pulling up on my code reader. I've seen several where they got the same codes, and it was for a bad transmission like valve body. Some kind of a control module or something built into the valve body. It's not the transmission itself. It's the electronics. This new truck has an entirely new wiring harness, and they are having some pretty serious issues with it. Now, before I jump on the highway, I want to show you guys she's not misfiring. The check engine light is not flashing at all. The truck is actually running great. It's shifting fine. Check engine light is still on, but it's not misfiring. I'm sitting here idling, and it's fine. Let me turn this down. Oasis Wonderwall, man, great song. In the red, that's not real. I don't know why it does that on camera, but like that's actually not there. But here's something that concerned me, is right here, this is the RAM app, and obviously this is my truck. You go to your vehicle health report, and this tells you if there's any health concerns with your truck. And would you look at that? It's all green check marks. All of it. Everything. That means everything passed, including engine malfunction. Yes, engine malfunction has a green check mark next to it, and it was updated January 25th at 1:54 p.m. Interesting. It's the 27th now, but this truck has been having problems for quite a while, and yet the app doesn't seem to show it. And for the longest time, the check engine light didn't even come on, even though the truck was sitting there misfiring. All right, how lucky are we? Right on the front line here, we got several of the SSTs, which means we can check these ground lugs and see if they look the same, if they're tore up. Actually, they are. Yeah, those ground lugs are, yeah, they're all scraped up, the same ones. So apparently that is from the factory. Yeah, same thing over here. They're all scraped up. I guess that makes sense. The whole body would have been painted, most likely, without the engine, without the wiring harness or anything in it. So that does make sense. And then after it's, you know, done being dipped or painted or whatever, then they come in and they put these on. I just can't believe that these come from the factory chewed up. Like, it looks like no care was taken at all to safeguard the paint on those ground lugs. So I mean, that's good news. That's good news. It doesn't look like anybody had worked on it before then. It's literally the way it comes from the factory. Is this engine cold? Yeah. But take a look. So this is right on the minimum mark, like right on the money. And this one though, this is what's interesting. This is cold, and I still think this is your turbo cooler. It's right between minimum and max on a cold engine. Between minimum and max on a brand new SST, yet mine is below the minimum mark. Let's check another one. We got another SST over here. Let's just see. Yep, also above, well above the minimum mark. Oh, we got SSTs for days, guys. This one is sitting right at the minimum mark, but not below it. Oh, this is the high output. I thought this one looked a little different. Yeah, this is the big boy. This is, yeah. What is this, like 500 horsepower or something like that? This thing is crazy, man. This thing. Maybe I should get this one. You think the fuel economy is bad in mine? Oh, I'd love to see what it is on this. No, man, I like my Rebel. I really do, even though I'm having problems with it. Like, I still like my Rebel. It's a great truck, aside from the problems that we're having. There's another cooler right there. That one's almost full. This one right here is sitting at the minimum mark, so mine is definitely below where it should be, guys. These are the Pentastar V6s. These are not the SST engines. This one is. And you can see, again, it's sitting right at the minimum mark. So there's definitely something going on with mine. We'll just have to see what service says about it. And look at what we have here. After David Stanley was cool, they paid for a lift ride over to Enterprise. Apparently, they don't do loaners anymore. They used to. I guess that's changed. Now they send you over to Enterprise and they pay for you to get into a new vehicle. I just checked with Enterprise. There's some great news here. David Stanley said they were not going to put me in a truck, but Enterprise said there was no problem putting me in a truck. And I was like, okay. The guy literally asked me, do you want a truck? And I said, yes. I said, I really need a truck. He's like, no problem. And I said, well, David Stanley said they wouldn't be able to put me in a truck. And he said, no. He said, I'm able to do it in the computer. And I said, okay. As long as I'm not, pissing anybody off, I'm fine, because I need a truck. Here's the interesting thing, though, guys. This is a 2025 Ram. Yep, 2025 Ram, 1500. And guess what engine it's got? Did you already guess? You already guessed it? Say, yeah, that's the SST. It's literally the same engine I currently have. The good news is, though, this truck has 8,024 miles on it, and it is not misfiring currently. So that's great news. It's a big horn. you know, it's got enough options. It's not loaded up or anything, but I mean, it's got everything that matters. You got your 4-wheel drive, 4x4 auto and all that stuff. You got your big screen with your radio stations. You got your parking sensors and all of that stuff. It's good enough. It's good. Like, I honestly, I don't even care. What I am interested in, though, is seeing the fuel economy on this one, because I'm willing to bet that this one does not have the what's my axle ratio, like a 392 or something. Mine's got the gears for like scooting, you know, for pulling, towing, things like that. I'll bet this one's geared more for highway. It's got the right size wheels and tires. This one may actually be the one that gets you better fuel economy than mine. And take a look, Enterprise. Look at the coolant. You see how I'm obsessed with that coolant, that turbo coolant? I'm telling you, man. I don't know. I got a hunch. And you know, I got to check these. Got to check these ground lugs again too. Yeah. See, they took more. They were a little more careful with these. These aren't nearly as torn up as mine. All right. So we got a truck, guys. That's something. Enterprise was great to work with. David Stanley was super cool to work with. Everybody there's always really friendly. They always have been. We've had our issues in the past, I mean, that was like years and years and years ago. They have been awesome to work with, so no complaints with them so far. I will keep you posted in this video as to what happens next with my Ram. All right, guys, we're back. We got the Ram back, and as soon as I got in the truck, I'm greeted with this. Like immediately, I'm literally still sitting here at the dealership. I just took this card off of the mirror, and it says, and that red stuff, that's not real. The camera picks that up. I don't know why, but it says update failed. An error occurred during the update procedure. So, and what's that smell? I don't like that smell. Okay, well, it says that the software update failed. I don't know if that's a problem or not. There we go. Yeah, I already just... Can we just go home? Thank you. Okay, everything seems to be working. I want to turn on... I really do smell... I smell something. And it doesn't smell... It almost smells like... No, it doesn't. It almost smells like wiring. Okay, anyway... So I got my receipt, and basically they didn't fix anything, but they said that the truck is good to go. So let's see. Invoice total $0, and let's just take a look real quick at what they've got on here. So we've got customer states after idling for 30 minutes, it starts misfiring. Check engine light eventually comes on and is running rough. He was stranded for a day, but if you shut it off and turn it back on, it resets. General concern. We'll call customer when part comes. Ordered ignition module. So unfortunately, the ignition module is back ordered, so they can't replace it. Okay. Then number 2, a multi-point inspection, and then number 3, a car rental, and that's it. That's it. So, I'm going to be honest with you, the people here are always really nice to me. They're always good to me, so I don't have any problems with David Stanley. I got to be clear about that, because there's some people on YouTube that they like to get part of the information and make a video, you know, when they don't actually know what's going on, because I don't talk to them. And I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not going to get into it. It's not worth it, honestly. It's not even worth it. But, you know, people like to get half the information and then jump to get a video and then use my name in it because they hope that it's going to get them clicks, because they're desperate for views. So if you're not getting the information from me, then you don't know the story. I have no issue with David Stanley at all. None. The truck broke, and that's at no fault of David Stanley's, okay? I want to make that very clear. And we found out that all of those scrapes under the hood are normal. Every one of the Rams out here has it. And the story that someone else did said that the truck was traded in and pre-owned, and they took that without knowing the backstory, okay? This truck was not pre-owned. It was a dealer trade from another Ram dealership in Texas to this dealership. I didn't get scammed or anything. I have the manufacturer certificate of origin for this truck, which means it's never been titled. Maybe it was a demo car or something. I don't know, because it had 500 miles on the odometer when I bought it. But that's the problem with getting half the story and then making a video, is you're talking about something you don't actually know anything about. So maybe just, you know, save that kind of stuff for your own videos. Quit trying to snipe other people's videos. Anyway, with that said, here we are with the truck. It has 2,592 miles on it. It's pouring rain outside. I'm going to take you outside and I'm going to show you what they did. And it's going to sound absolutely crazy that this is the solution. I'm not even sure that I'm buying it yet, but we'll find out, guys. Okay, we're going to find out together. All right. So my coolant that I was concerned about is at the minimum level, so that's fine. Engine seems to be running fine. There's no check engine light on currently, but you notice there's something missing under the hood of this truck. Do you know what it is? Well, hold on a minute, let me show you. Because they included it. Oh, well, they said it was back here. Look, there's still the sticker on the door I never took off. Great. I hope it's in here. There it is. There it is. This right here. This right here is potentially the problem. They said that this engine cover, they believe, is holding in too much heat when the truck is idling, so they took it off. And they think that removing this cover will allow the, I guess the coils or the ignition control module, I don't even know, to stay cool. So if it fixes it, great. I don't care. You think I care about a beauty cover? It doesn't matter to me. If that's the fix, great. You know, maybe they can put that in a technical service bulletin to help other people that are having problems with their trucks idling and then misfiring and check engine lights coming on. Here's the one thing that I don't think it resolves, though, is the lost communication with the transmission. That shouldn't have anything to do with an engine cover. And they told me that they looked into the history, and basically it was a historical code, and they think that the transmission maybe just didn't shift right or something, and that caused the code. But they said it was not a current code, it was a stored code. So I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm not exceptionally comfortable with this truck right now. I'm not sure that removing an engine cover is the solution, and I'm still concerned with the transmission. They gave me the option to keep my rental truck if I wasn't comfortable taking that, so I want to make that clear. They have done everything to help me, but there's nothing they can really do right now, because the part that they're replacing, just out of an abundance of caution, is the ignition control module, but they don't have one and they can't get one. So they ordered it, and that's as far as they can go with it. You know, they can't make something appear out of thin air. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna drive it back. I'm gonna cross my fingers that this thing is not gonna break. And I told him, I said, that the problem is I am anticipating having to take a trip to Florida, and I might have to haul something back. I cannot be stuck in Florida. You know what I mean? I can't do it, man. I cannot get out there and find out my truck is broken, have to take it to a service department out there, find out they can't get parts to fix it, and then what? Am I stuck in Florida? I can't be stuck in Florida. I can't afford to be stuck in Florida, guys. Are you kidding me? I got work to do out here. So I'm skeptical, but they said, if you are not comfortable with it, no problem, keep the rental car. And I said, look, if you're I trust you guys. If you guys think that this thing is safe and it's okay and you would take it out on a trip of your own, then who am I to argue with you? You know what I mean? I'll take your word for it. and we'll find out what happens. So here we are. They left it idling for quite a long time, and they did not have any problems with it misfiring. The check engine light never came back on again. So we're going to take it home. And hopefully, after we let it sit and idle for a half hour or so, everything still runs great. It doesn't misfire. And then maybe I'll have a little more faith in this old truck. So just a little update. I thought this was interesting. The fuel economy has never been this good. So I don't think they did any software updates, but she's getting 19.1 miles a gallon. In fact, when I got off the highway, it was 20. It was right at 20. It had just crossed 20 miles a gallon. And that's unfortunate that I didn't get to film it, man, because now it's sitting at, well, 19.2, but still, that is incredible. This truck has never gotten fuel economy like that at all. So that's to me a little bit strange. I don't know, maybe it's the dense air because it's wet outside and it's relatively cool. I'm not quite sure, but I'll take it, guys. The other truck that I got as a loaner, it was also a 25 Ram, but that one, when I returned it, was sitting right at 22 miles a gallon. So this truck's not too far off from it, man. That is pretty impressive. So far, no issues with the truck. We've got no warning lights on, but then again, I never had any problems with the truck from just driving. It was when I sat idling eating lunch one day that the problem started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back to the house. I'm going to leave it running in the driveway, and I'm just going to let it idle for about 20 or 30 minutes, and we're going to walk back out. We're going to check the truck, and we're going to see if after, 20 or 30 minutes, she's misfiring again. And we are rolling up to the house. Still, 18.9. Come on, hit 19. There we go, 19. 19 miles a gallon is where we ended up. I'm actually really impressed with that. So I still love the truck, man. And when I had that loaner truck, I actually said that I wished that I had purchased the Bighorn instead of this one. I changed my mind. I love the Rebel, man. I love the truck. I love all the tech. I love all the options. I love it's big, it's beefy. Like, this truck is something you see coming down the road. You know what I mean? I really do enjoy this truck. So the time is currently about 3:18. So let's mark the clock. Today is the 29th of January. So they've had the truck for, I think I turned it into them on Monday. It's only Wednesday. It's only been 2 days. Let's let it sit here 3:17, and maybe by 3:47, it'll hopefully still be okay, or it'll be misfiring. I'm going to go inside and have some peanut butter and jelly. And it is time. And guess what? No check engine light. Now let's go take a listen to the exhaust, because we've seen this before where the check engine light wasn't on, but this thing was just sitting there spitting and sputting. She was all kinds of pissed off. Let's listen. Smooth as silk. Not a problem. I don't hear anything abnormal. I don't feel any vibrations. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think that was a fix. I've never heard of removing an engine cover to solve a multiple/random misfire condition. This is a first for me. With that said, I mean, it's not particularly warm or cold. It's 48 degrees. I guess we're just going to have to come back, when it's warmer. I'm going to just keep trying to get it to misfire. I will. As it gets warmer, I will let it idle for half an hour or so and just see if it starts misfiring again. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if there's something wrong with my truck, I want to get it resolved now. I don't want to find out after I'm on the road in the middle of nowhere somewhere that my truck is having substantial problems, significant problems. It's going to require me to drag it into a service department when I'm away from home. So I'd rather do it now, because right now I don't need to have this truck in my possession. Okay, right now is the time where if there's something wrong with it, let's figure it out. Let's get it fixed. Number one, so that I'm in control of the situation. Number two, because this is still a pretty early platform in the, it is a very early platform in these Ram 1500 trucks. So maybe I can help other people that are going to go through the same thing, that experience the same thing. Maybe I can help them by finding this video, realizing what's wrong. They can talk to their dealer, maybe even get a technical service bulletin so that people can be helped and this issue can be resolved properly. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't see, hear, or feel anything. And last time it was a good 20 to 30 minutes, man, and it was all kinds of unhappy. And it seems to be fine now. So I'm going to call it for now. I'm going to call this fixed. I'm going to say it's good. Removing the engine cover. I would have, yeah, removing the engine. Apparently the engine cover is holding in too much heat. That's definitely something that I think Ram needs to look into and think about. Just for fun, I thought we... Are you serious? We already have a cylinder 5 misfire. And here I thought it was fixed. I don't feel a misfire. But you can see, so since they cleared the codes, none of the readiness monitors, the O2 monitors, CAT monitor, they have not cleared yet. So we haven't even passed, you know, the cycles required for these monitors to all be present. And we have a P0305. Now, when this happened, I don't know. I have no idea when. I don't feel anything at all. Here's what I'm going to do. It's the only code. I thought it was fixed. It's sitting here running perfect. When did it misfire? This is very frustrating. I was really excited, and then I saw my code reader was just sitting right there, you know, and I was like, oh, what the hell? Let's plug it in, because I haven't been in the truck this whole time. I went inside, I had lunch, I sat around and BS'd with my fiance, and then I came out and I was like, all right, it's time to come check on this truck. So let's clear it. Codes are cleared. It's going to read them again. We should come back with nothing. It's still there. We are still getting a hard P0305. It's not misfiring though. I'm certain that it's not. Let's pop the hood. Just take a quick peek at the engine. This thing's not misfiring. So why it is just holding on to a code, maybe it's because the truck is running. No, man, she's not misfiring. Right? Actually, it is a little shaky. I don't believe it is. This is tough, guys. I'm not gonna lie, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I'm gonna come back and just listen to this exhaust one more time. No. No. It's not misfiring. I'm just gonna have to keep my eyes on this, is what I'm gonna have to do. I think what else I'll do is when I get down to AR headquarters, I'll plug my scanner into this thing, and I will make sure the codes are properly cleared and erased, and then we'll start over from scratch and see if this comes back. That cylinder 5 misfire being so persistent, that one concerns me. I guess that's just the way things go, man. I don't know. I thought it was fixed. Now I'm not convinced that it's fixed, but I'm gonna let you guys drop your comments down below and tell me what you think, man. I'm back to I'm not sure I trust it. I'm really not. We'll see how it goes. Trust me, if anything else goes wrong with this truck, there will be an update video on it. Do me a favor, please don't listen to anything you hear from anybody else that might be making content talking about what's going on with my vehicles, okay? I will promise you, nobody else on YouTube knows what's going on with my stuff more than I do, okay? So just ignore that other BS and wait for a video from me. There's a reason I don't post a video immediately when something goes wrong. I like to make sure when it's something like this, I want to make sure I have all the facts. I want to make sure that I've got one video with everything in it for you guys. Here's what happened to me. Here's what the dealer said is going on. And here's what the repair is supposed to be. And then did it work? Currently, yes, it does still have a P0305 stored. Is that current? I don't know. It's a cheap little... Guys, this is like a $40 scan. So I'm not gonna say this thing's 100% accurate, but I know damn well my expensive scanner down in Buyers is, I don't feel a misfire. I do not think it is misfiring. And last time, you could make it do it every time. Every time. If it was 20 to 30 minutes, boom, boom, boom. Guys, it is now 4 o'clock. So it's well over the time it's been sitting here idling the whole time, and I haven't felt a single misfire. So please, wait for a video from me, and if something goes wrong, I promise you we're going to do another one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and until next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.